Hi, this is Skylar Rodriguez. Today is November 12th, 2017. I'm going to be doing the dissection of the sheep heart. So I'm just getting my gloves on. I've already taken the outside membrane off, cut a few pieces so that I can expose the parts that I need to. So what I'm going to show first, we can see that this will be the aorta. What I had to do here was I had to cut along the top. I had to cut along the top and a little bit into the heart to expose it. At first I didn't realize that it was, when all this was around it, I didn't realize that it was the aorta. So I did keep going. I think there's a couple parts missing here, so I'm just gonna work with what I have. Okay, so as you can see, this will be the anterior view, and then we have the posterior view. So when explaining the heart, when the anterior side is facing me, like this, we have the right and left atrium. So when it faces me, the right atrium will actually be on the left side and the left atrium will be on the right side. When it is facing, so if it's like this, we have the right atrium, the left atrium. When it is facing you, it will be the right atrium and the left atrium. Okay, so I'm just going to point out what we have right now. So right here we have the aorta, and then we have let me get this right here. And then I'm also going to point out the interventricular sulcus. So if you look at the posterior side of the heart, you can find it right here. So this is the posterior interventricular sulcus. And then if you look at, let's see, so if it were towards me, it'd be left. So then we have right over here, this would be the left ventricle and then the right ventricle. To get a better view of the left and right atrium, we will have to cut it open. So now we have, before we start, I just want to point out that the pulmonary artery, we can find that right, sorry, I'm like mixed up with my right and left, but that would be right here, and then the right auricle would be right over here in this area. So to find the pulmonary artery, you can actually poke down into the this left hole, and if you place your finger in, you can feel that it goes very deep inside the heart. And then if you go right over here to this hole, you can poke down, and that actually will touch the vena cava. So this one is the superior and inferior vena cava. So that will also go down into the heart. So now we're going to cut the heart open to expose the atrium. So I'm going to take my scalpel, just going to kind of get the skin off of that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to turn it to the side, and I'm going to actually first let me cut it downwards. So I'm just going to use my scalpel very carefully. We're going to cut straight down all the way to the interventricular artery, and we will cut that right open. So I'm going to have to do a little bit more cutting And I'm going to kind of go from the top and then angle it to go to the bottom. And I kind of have pieces here and there. If you look, I'm going posterior, so now I have those pieces so I can cut them out. So I'm going to take my scissors and kind of just cut all that excess off. I'm not sure if I was supposed to do that beforehand, but I'm doing it now. And then we're just going to get all that off so that we can expose what we need to. Okay, so now we have that. Okay, and I'm just trying not to cut any of the muscles. When you open it, you'll actually expose the papillary muscles, and I'll show you that as well. So let me just get this extra meat off that we don't need. Okay, so now we can see inside the heart, which is pretty cool. And I don't want to cut any of the muscles, so we'll just kind of spread it open. So now it's open. I'm going to have the aorta facing upwards, and if you look, you can see all the muscles and the veins. Okay, so I'm going to point out a few other structures. So now that it's open, we can point out the left ventricle, which would be, let's see if I can get the lighting. So the left ventricle, opening it all the way up. Oh, I think I just tore a muscle. Okay, so before anything, let me just point out that these little strings over here, I don't know if you can see them. The little strings that are inside in this area are the papillary muscles. On that same side, you will find the left ventricle, which is right in this area. It's a little dark to see inside. I don't have the greatest lining. And then on this side, this is actually the left ventricle wall. So it would be the same thing opposite to find the right ventricle, which would be over here, with the right ventricle wall over here. Also, the left auricle would be right up here. Sorry, left would be on this side. And then the bicuspid valve is actually right here now that I can see it. It's right up here. Okay. So moving along, let me just get another view. So basically what I have learned is that the aorta is going to be right down here, and there is a little hole, and this leads down into the heart. By that, the pulmonary artery and the arteries after that are going to pump the blood, which will then go throughout the body. With that being said, oxygen levels will be throughout the body, allowing us to live. So now that, let's see, what else do I have to find? So we found the right and the left ventricle. We found the right and the left atriums, and then I also pointed out the interventricular valve. What else can I say? And then it also, if you look inside, right, it's just a little dark. Let me see if I can get a better view of that. So I also want to point out the tricuspid valve. By doing that, I'm not gonna cut the muscles because I'll need them, but I'm just going to kind of get all this away, out of the way. That way I can point out the tricuspid valve, which would be right in this area. Right here. If you go right here, so the tricuspid valve would be right there. And then if you go down a little bit and then to the left, that will be the chordae tendonae, and that's right there. So now I'm just gonna get some pictures and I will upload it to my lab. Very interesting.